Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your September the 19th Spiritual Principle a Day in a Meditation. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing excellent. The title of today's meditation, A Bond of Selflessness. Make us servants of your will and grant us a bond of selflessness, that this may truly be your work, not ours, in order that no addict anywhere need die from the horrors of addiction. That comes from the basic text introduction. The service work we do in NA is all about carrying our message of hope to addicts seeking recovery. No matter what our beliefs about a higher power are, most of us can agree that anything capable of keeping addicts all over the world clean just for the day is a power greater than any of us as individuals. I couldn't keep myself clean, one member shared. So there's no way I have the power to keep anyone else clean either. The same holds true for our service efforts. Our job is not to keep anyone clean or make anyone recover. We carry the message. Our service prayer was adapted from the literature prayer in the basic text, acknowledging the crucial role selflessness plays in our services. Many of us understand a higher power to simply be whatever force keeps us clean. And when we serve selflessly, we can be a part of that force for the addicts who benefit from our work. Selflessness isn't always easy. Self-centeredness will try to make our work about us rather than those we serve. Maybe we think a certain service position will make us popular or powerful. Maybe we think sponsoring a lot of addicts or the cool addicts will lend us some prestige in our anonymous fellowship. Maybe we think having the biggest home group or the best conventions means we are recovery rock stars. Some members say that ego can stand for edging God out, and there's some truth in that. When we allow ourselves to move to the center, we have to push something or someone else out of the center. The service prayer reminds us to keep the needs of the still suffering addict at the heart of our service efforts. We do our part and then try to stay out of the way. We won't get it perfect, but practice helps. I will practice selflessness by striving to keep the message and a power greater than myself at the center of my service efforts. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please, and thank you. I don't know why while I was reading this, I'm not sure why, but the thought occurred to me. Well, two thoughts occurred to me. When it made the comment about doing service work, and some of us thinking that if I sponsor the right people or the cool people, I'll have some prestige, right? Or if my area has the best recovery conventions, there'd be some prestige in having a service position, right? In that. And then immediately my thought went to, do you remember, Mighty Stream, when you actually sponsored one female, an older lady that was popular in her area and had like 4 generations of sponsees underneath her. Do you remember how uncomfortable you used to be going to their area to do sponsorship meetings? They would literally book appointments. I would stay the whole weekend that we would do our sponsorship meetings. They would book appointments. I would stay at her house. She worked, but I would stay there, generally speaking, from Friday to Sunday night. And they would have appointments with what would be either their grand sponsor, great grand sponsor, or great great grand sponsor, or great 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 great. You see where I'm going with this? And I was that, right? And I remember thinking to myself, I got to get myself out of this pickle. This level of responsibility and people looking to me for an answer about things that their step work should be revealing to them how to apply the spiritual principles, right? This is not when the great great grand sponsor comes to town. Let me ask her how to leave the man. That's no. There should be a level of awareness of how to work these spiritual principles in your life on a day-to-day basis. You don't need your great 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 grand sponsor to tell you how to get out of an abusive relationship you've been in for 10 years. My sponsor, my sponsee rather, who is your grand sponsor or your sponsor, should be able, you don't need to wait for me to come to town to have that conversation. Now, if you want to take me to lunch or something, yeah, that's wonderful. That's great. But I remember thinking to myself, this is way too much focus on me. I'm not the center of this. And I began to wiggle myself out of that spot, not because I wasn't capable of doing that level of service work. I did it for many years. But I just was not comfortable being the center of anyone's recovery. My service work, that's not what I do it for. And I wiggled myself. It took me a while. I would say it probably took me a good year when I made up my mind that I was not going to be held to being in the center like that. When I made up my mind, I started to work my way out of that. And eventually I wiggled myself completely free. And as soon as I got out of the way, I was able to travel the world and do other things that I wanted to do. That's one thought that came to mind. And they weren't from my area. They're from my general area, but they weren't from my city. I had to travel like an hour to get to them. And then the other thought that came to me, and this is quite serious. I need to say this, and it is that when you have a loved one that is using, they've been in the program, out of the program, in the program, and out of the program. And I lost my dear sister to an overdose, and it's only been, 8 years and 4 days since I lost her. 8 years seems like it's less than that. Seems like it's less than that. I'm losing count, okay? But yeah, 2015. So 8 years and 4 days. But here's the point. Here's the point. When you have someone in your family that you really, really love, and you know that you have been a part of trying to carry the message to them, and they're still angry with you about something, they're frustrated, they don't like you, they dog you whenever they can, and you're still wanting them to just get clean, right? The thought occurred to me, let Narcotics Anonymous do for them what it did for you. Move out of the way. Move out of the center. If you can't safely engage them, or it's not healthy for you, then stop. Let the group sponsor them. Just completely move yourself from the center and let what benefited you benefit them. Let other addicts reach out to them. And you don't have to manipulate or try to control or fix. Can you talk to someone? So this is my son. Can you spend some time with him? You don't have to do none of that. You be that recovering person that reaches out to another newcomer and let someone else reach out to your loved one. Because a lot of times there's such a enmeshment in those relationships that they're always going to throw you into the fire and blame you when things don't go right for them. And the longer you position yourself to be that center, the longer I believe it's going to take for them to get clean. Now, listen, that's just my suggestion. You can go back over this meditation and think about a bond of selflessness as it applies to you. But that's my experience, strength and hope, and I'm sticking with it. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you. Have a beautiful day on purpose.